Hey there, it's meteorologist JB Singleton, and I'm working in the background on converting some of my software and computers over to Windows 10, and to do it with the existing graphics cards. There's always an issue, and usually it's right as there's a weather system developing. But we've got the recovery file, so we're all good to go now, at least for what we need to do here. We basically have a tropical air mass that's moving into a cool air wedge that we've had across the area. And this is producing areas of moderate to heavy rainfall. Some areas have seen 2 to 3 inches of rain since the rain started. Earlier today and earlier yesterday too in some areas, especially near the Blue Ridge. And as you see there on the radar screen, most of the heaviest rainfall continues. It's pretty much pouring down right now from Floyd going into Carroll County area and into Patrick County. This is an area that doesn't need to see any rainfall for the rest of tonight, but unfortunately we are seeing bands that continue developing through here, and you can see that those bands, you've got one of them there where we've got a current flash flood warning until 4:15. That is for Surrey County into eastern Carroll County, and also going into southern Floyd County and southwest, again, Patrick County until 4:15. There are numerous other, for Boone's Mill down through Franklin County and a good part of the rest of Patrick County under flood advisories. That also includes Roanoke and Montgomery County. As we go into the next several hours, these will likely be expanded if the rain continues to develop, and it is, by the way. Right now, because we've just got a lot of moisture that's slamming into the mountains, what we call a good fetch of moisture. Now, the surrounding areas, maybe around Wytheville, you're not seeing a lot of activity, but there are some showers upstream. The National Weather Service has all these green shaded areas here, and I'll draw that here. All of these areas are under a flash flood watch that's in effect, excluding Danville and Halifax and Charlotte Courthouse, but all other areas are under this flash flood watch through at least noon Wednesday. The rain is coming in now, and then after noon Wednesday, we're going to shift to a severe weather threat, but with an isolated flash flooding threat as we get system number 2. That's going to be the main cold front moving through the area. But we can zoom in right now, and I'll turn the zoom on, and we'll go on into where this flash flood warning is in effect, and I'll read that for you. This is, again, including Mount Airy, Ararat, Pilot Mountain, that area seeing maybe it tapering off on the southern flank here, but new cells likely developing here. This was issued at 10:10 p.m. Northeastern Surrey County. Again, we got Carroll County, Floyd County, Patrick County until 4:15 in the morning. So if you're an early riser and you get up like now, or you start heading out way before the sun comes up, and if you live near Fancy Gap and east of Galax, say your commute takes you from Galax up to Floyd, or from Floyd into Christiansburg, or anything like that, Martinsville back into Stewart, vice versa, you're going to have some high water on some of these low spots in the roads, just because it keeps raining here and the mountains intensify that runoff effect. We had at 10:10 p.m. in the last hour or so a persistent area of heavy rain that's still falling from Ararat, North Carolina to near Duxbutt, Virginia, including Pilot Mountain and Mount Airy. This includes portions of the Blue Ridge Parkway. And again, the parkway is actually helping to focus, because of the terrain. It's helping to focus the heavier rainfall, and that's actually why it's raining so hard over other areas. Fancy Gap to Groundhog Mountain. Additional rainfall amounts of 1.5 to 2.5 inches of rain are expected through 4:15. Now, I say that because more rain's coming tomorrow, and some of you are going to have, especially near the Blue Ridge, you're going to have rainfall amounts that are up here around 6 inches plus, and that's a lot of rain falling over a short amount of time. So that's why the flash flood watch has been issued. But they want areas, the National Weather Service is saying, from Toast, Flat Rock, Mount Airy, Pilot Mountain, to get out of small areas that are near the creeks and streams, urban areas, highway streets, and underpasses flooding as well. I will say it's been kind of dry for a good part of the area for the past week or so overall, and that's helped us somewhat at the beginning of this event. I just went on the VDOT page and I was looking at where we were seeing any road closings, and I saw one here. Let's see, that's southern Patrick County here, vicinity of Little Russell Creek Road. There's a road closed there. You know, in the big events, sometimes you will see numerous little cloud icons up on the Virginia 511 page. That's where that's when you've got a lot of rain coming down and a lot of saturated ground on top of that. Just reading off a few road closures, though. Route 1718 in Henry County at Parkway Drive. That is at least delayed for weather. Could be closed in that area as well. A lot of these back roads, we don't know. There's no icons because we simply don't have crews out there enough to look at every single roadway and flood spots, although the emergency managers usually do a pretty good job of checking up on that throughout the hour. And I don't have the scanners on tonight just to keep you abreast of that. So we've got a few weather delays here. We've also got some dense fog in around the area on I-77. But we'll continue to watch this for you. It looks like we've got another one there. Let's see. Giles County, motorists can expect delays due to weather. All north lanes and south lanes are closed. That's on Route 772 in the Giles County area near Mountain View. And let's see, zoom on into that area. It's southwest of Pembroke there. And you can see that's an area that's near a tributary of the New River. So that's an area that's probably prone to flooding. So your usual spots are starting to flood, and we're going to continue to see rainfall throughout the rest of tonight. So let's go back to the radar lab here, and I want to show you the individual flood advisories that are up. This includes, we've got one for Roanoke that's in effect until midnight. In the Roanoke Valley area, they've had a little bit less, but between 1.5 to 3 inches of rain in some areas. This flood advisory remains in effect for another half hour. I have a feeling a lot of these are going to be extended into the night if the rains continue, although if you look at Roanoke itself in the county, it's only raining heavily on the west side of the county around Ironto, closer to Elliston and that area going into Price's Fork there. This was at 9:43. And then Roanoke, Benton Mountain, Copper Hill areas that could see some flooding. Obviously, areas near the Parkway are a big concern here. So that's one flood advisory area. In Franklin County, we have 2 flood advisories that remain in effect. So if you're a Cable 12 viewer or you're watching on our Cable 12 Facebook feed or our Cable 12 webpage, we've got a flood advisory until 2:30 in the morning. That includes the Parkway, but it also includes areas just to the west of Ferrum. So you get out around, Endicott and Callaway, you're right on the edge of where that heavier rainfall is occurring and causing some problems out there. This remains in effect again into the wee hours of the morning. And again, don't be surprised if it keeps raining, they'll extend these. Keep in mind, we've got a new update there coming up around Haycock and Woolwine. It's pouring down rain there. And Copper Hill, Endicott, check. Also under a flood advisory, rainfall amounts of 1.5 to 2 inches expected there too. And then we've got just, again, numerous flood advisories. I put out a post a second ago that just kind of blanketed all the local flood advisories we've got. But we've also got one for Woolwine down through Patrick County, Cruises Store, and Stewart. That's in effect until 1:30 in the morning. And it's the same story, rainfall of 1 to 2 inches of rain in addition to what we've had. And the National Weather Service is saying that the radar has been underestimating the rain. Patrick County, you're getting hit pretty hard actually because it's rained there most of the day, and it actually started raining overnight last night, yesterday evening. So Patrick County has already had 3 to 5 inches of rain, and more is continuing to fall. So around Stewart, Buffalo Ridge, Mayberry Mill, Meadow Sedan, Woolwine, the Rocky Knob recreation area and the summit there, need to head to higher ground, also including these streams and drainage areas: Ivy Creek, Hooker's Creek, Elk Creek, Goblin Town Creek, Bull Mountain Fork, Jacks Creek, Little Dan River, Dodd Creek, the Dan River in that area, Little Creek, Laurel Fork, Joint, Crack Creek, Hughes Creek, Howe Creek, and Ogland Branch. Additional rainfall of 1 to 2 inches are expected on top of the 3 to 5. And we've been telling you about rainfall amounts, especially on my Patreon page, that could exceed 8 inches off of some of the modeling data that we've been looking at there. So let me give you just kind of a broad view of what's going on. I'll switch over to the NDI and we'll check out what's going on the computer here. I might have to refresh this a little bit, so just give me a second here. There we go. It's coming in now. I brought the other home office computer in so you can get an idea of what's going on. And this kind of shows you the broad standpoint. I'm going to move that back a little bit, make sure we're getting a fresh loop. It's amazing what you can do with technology, and sometimes what you can't do with technology. That was the problem earlier this evening. But you continue to see areas of moisture that continue to stream in. This one ribbon here is the problem. Looks like it was, okay, it's not that, it's the NDI. So let me do something real quick. It's jumping around on me a little bit, so I'm gonna look at that in a different way. It's not doing it so much there. So toward the end of this loop, you start to see that we still have bands of rain that are still setting up south of Patrick County, where we've got that flash flood warning in effect, and right there you see it. So that continues to be something that develops out of that area and moves up to the north. Let me tell you what's going on rainfall rate wise, and we'll go from our NDI to our in-house WSV3 program, basically the same thing. These are rainfall rates. We've also got the flood advisory shown here, but it is raining pretty hard here. We've seen higher, but this is still some rain that's adding up. 2.5 to 3.5 inches of rain per hour. Other areas like in Franklin County are seeing about 1/2 inch of rain an hour, up to an inch and 2/10 of an inch of rain an hour around Floyd. Again, it really depends on where that heavier rainfall is. But again, the concern is it continues to train over the same area. So if you were to loop this product and look at where these higher numbers are, higher values here, you would see that it's pretty much been over the same areas. This continues to kind of add up and show us where the heaviest rain is falling. And I don't know if that product even can be looped. So let me look at just the level 3 data here real fast. I'll turn that on. We'll turn this off. There you see too our flash flood warning that's in effect that really highlights that area there. So you see that one band is where we've got not only the flood advisory but the flash flood warning to the east of Hillsville. But another area that may soon see a flash flood warning would be around Route 8 in the Floyd. A very heavy band of rain from Stewart, basically following Route 8, and it also intersects with Route 40 as you go out of Franklin County into Patrick County. That real mountainous area there, you know, a lot of the most impressive terrain, some of the prettiest terrain and prettiest country lies in this little area here, but it's so susceptible to flooding in a situation like this. So I'll put this into motion, let that load for you. It'll take a couple of seconds, but you get the idea that everything's kind of stacking up in these two little bands that continue to train over the same areas. Seeing a little bit of northward movement out of Pilot Mountain, but still Mount Airy and areas to the north here are going to begin for a wet night. And I'm concerned because I do think that Floyd County will end up getting some kind of a flash flood warning or something out of there. They're continuing the one for Carroll County and Floyd County and Surrey County until 4:15. I'm going to show you some rainfall amounts here in just a second as well. But not to be left out, Blacksburg and Christiansburg, your totals are also going to be adding up throughout the night. And now we're getting those heavier bands for Pulaski County, especially east of town toward Dublin and into Radford. There's some heavier rainfall here as well that's coming out of Mount Airy, North Carolina. Now, where I'm at in Franklin County, most of the heaviest rain in Franklin County is going to probably be along and west of US 220. That's not to say there won't be downpours east of 220. County. And in fact, as I say that, there are some heavier batches here coming in that are showing up there in the orange colors and some of the yellow colors as well. This is moisture that's also streaming in. And what it's doing when we talk about upslope, we've got the mountains right here. So it's hitting the mountains at a 90-degree angle, and it's forcing all of that moisture out. It can't go down into the ground, so it upslopes, and basically that's where you have the flooding potential, where you see that elevated area of rainfall. But right near the radar site there, some very heavy rain there. They're falling down. So I want to show you what's going to be happening throughout the rest of the evening. And again, there are flood advisories. Starting to see some heavier rainfall in Henry County as well. So south side starting to see some of the action here. But we'll go to basically all of the potential areas that we could get flooding. And what I'm looking at is every single source of data over the past 30 hours, how much rain has fallen. Most of this in the past 12 to 30 hours. But you can see some of these numbers here, 2.73 inches there in northwest Franklin County, 2.43 in southwest Roanoke County. This is why the National Weather Service issued the flood advisories for this area. We can zoom in here a little bit and get a better idea as it continues to load. You can see Roanoke City there about 1.5 inches, 1.64, but you go outside of the city, it depends on what area you're looking at. And these are updating live. So Catawba just got over 2 inches. Fort Lewis Mountains about 1.75. You go into Blacksburg and 1.95 to 1.6 inches of rain. As your this is your storm total, not over a specific period. 2.5 inches near the Merrimack area in Christiansburg as well, about 2 inches. But it really depends. It got close to 3 inches of rain there near Union Valley and near Fisher's View Mountain there in the NRV. Head on down to Patrick County, where the problems are really the worst right now, I think, and will be ongoing throughout the rest of tonight if that band of rain doesn't move out. And this is going to load for me here, but I want you to already see the numbers that are popping up. It'll let me zoom without freaking out, being a little unresponsive. 6.75, 5.16. So we are getting some 5 to 6 inches amounts here that are coming in. And that's what's causing all the problems right now. So if we upload or look at the latest iFlows, we'll see if we have any gauges that are in flood advisory potential. We don't see any just yet, but I'll tell you what, this EDD does not like it when you load that while you're streaming. So let's put on something else. There we go. Okay, so this area here, again, seeing most of the rain. Let's check out the Doppler estimated totals, because we are getting verified reports now between 5 and 6 inches. We'll go to our digital accumulation array, see if that will show us, and really highlights the areas that have just seen some rain versus areas that are seeing a lot of rainfall. And so the radar's probably underdoing this quite a bit. Yeah, around 1 inch to, that's why the National Weather Service, they had to go ahead and put their own reports in, because radar can just guess at this. We'll do storm total precip and see if we get anything different. And there we go. Well over 3 to 4 inches of rain in that orange area through Mount Airy. Now these numbers are about half of what's being reported. The radar again just guesses. But what I wanted to show you is the placement of the heaviest rain. So where you see the oranges here, these are amounts that are likely in reality going up around 5 or 6 inches. That includes Haycock there, and going down through Woolwine and Nevesta. And then other areas, it'll continue to add up in the Roanoke and Cave Spring, because we've got more rain that's going to be on the way for the rest of tonight. Somebody just asked, where is all the rain coming from? Well, I can show you that. We'll go on out to our Gibson Ridge Earth product here, and we've got two waves that are moving in. There's this first one right now. This was the leftovers of Nicholas, which was a Gulf of Mexico storm while I was down with the Rona that developed over the past weekend, and it's just been sitting over here, not really well developed, just a lot of moisture with it. We talked about that on Patreon as well. That upper level wave from that is moving through, but we've got numerous little spins along it that are combining with moisture that's coming in, and I'll draw it for you here. It's moisture that's coming in at about 5,000 feet from the Atlantic Ocean. So it's coming in like this. This is sometimes referred to as a fire hose, but it's a bit broken up. So it's not like the most intense I've seen, but you do see those little echoes in there that continue to form. And what's happening is, and you can see the movement right there, it's running into the mountainous areas of the NRV and the Blue Ridge Parkway, and it is wringing out moisture. So even though it's in a broken sense here on the radar, you do notice the past few frames it's starting to light back up now around Raleigh and the Greenville. There are little areas of low pressure that are developing here as well. And I'll put on the wind, and you can maybe see some of this counterclockwise wind that starts to develop. Anywhere you see a little bit of backing there, there's one wave of low pressure that's causing all the trouble. I would guess it's right there just to the south of Patrick County. It's too small of an area of low pressure to see, really. But if you were to kind of analyze it here and do a little quick micro analysis, you'd see some converging in there, and you'd see some converging in there. So there's like a weak low. And notice that just to the northwest of that low is where you see that deformation zone. The air is spinning around like this. And it's dumping that rain down over the same areas there throughout the NRV. So that's the problem in the initial sense. We still have this southern stream system to get through here. I wouldn't really call it Nicholas per se. It's just the moisture from Nicholas that's just sitting there. But what's causing all the trouble is the second system that's out here. Now this one means business. It looks like by the time we go into the day tomorrow. Check out this big dip here around St. Louis all the way down into Arkansas. That's a lot of upper level energy. And what this is a bowling ball of cooler air aloft that's coming down, and it's moving east like this. So that as this system continues, this one right here continues to move east, it's going to drive a cold front close to the area tomorrow. And this cold front is going to be giving us some trouble in terms of severe weather, and it also is going to regenerate some more rain for us as we go through the day tomorrow, and potentially some tornadic activity as well. So we're going to have to watch that very carefully. But you can see some flooding already occurring with the system off to the west. And if you look at it from a jet stream perspective, you can definitely see that's a large dip in the jet stream, and it's almost a closed low in the jet stream that's causing all the problems out there. So let me go back to the EDD and see if it wants to cooperate. And I believe the problem is I loaded too much and then I zoomed out too far. But this is important data, so I'm going to keep this on, and we're going to zoom back in, and we're going to be patient with it this time. Definitely Southwest Virginia, I'm looking around the country now, is the place where the heaviest rainfall is occurring. Now, I've got it where I want it, so don't move it, Jamie, or don't zoom, okay? We'll leave it right there. But now let's go in the Mount Airy and Surry County, North Carolina. So if you are watching from Patrick County, near the Dan River there, 4.24 at Meadows of Dan, 4.24 inches of rain, 3.59 inches of rain, and still falling, by the way, Laurel Fork. And then you make your way down here in the Surry County, north of Mount Airy, King, 5.16 inches of rain since it all started, 5.2 inches there at the river. So it's not that we've got one or two places seeing this. It's not a fluke report. These near Pilot Mountain here in Surry County, we are seeing amounts that are over 5 inches. And the concern is that we will continue to see that add up throughout the night tonight. This is a look at the latest NAM, the 0Z high-res NAM. And this is a computer model which shows us what may happen throughout the rest of tonight. And I apologize to our TikTok folks there. The tripod just slammed over. I don't know if you can hear that or not. So anyway, we'll put this into motion, and you can see more activity continuing to develop throughout the night tonight. This actually takes us into the early afternoon hours of Wednesday. So notice the trail of moisture there out of North Carolina and Virginia, and I'll zoom in a little bit more so you can see right in through here. So this is now leading up to the next few hours. The bands may continue and redevelop by the time we go into lunchtime tomorrow. Over the same areas, I-77, Statesville into Hickory east, really east of you, closer to Winston-Salem. Some areas are going to see well over 6 to 8 because you've already got 5 in Surry County, North Carolina, with more on the way. And you can see some of that heavier rainfall makes its way in the Roanoke as well. Then tomorrow, here comes the cold front. So this is going to have the potential, if it gets warm enough, for severe weather along it as well. And that's going to come through, it'll be coming through during the mid-afternoon for the mountainous areas of southwest Virginia, the Mountain Empire around Bristol. And then it's going to be moving east into the NRV and the rest of the area as we go through 8, 9 o'clock. About this time tomorrow, it should be moving out of the area. So we've got a long 24 hours to go, and I'll show it to you in greater detail as well. I've got it pulled up here on my Weather Bell account. I'm going to hit refresh so I can give you the very latest computer model here, and we'll adjust the screen for you. This is let's look at the 0Z run and see what happens here. So we put this in motion. This is a different model, so I want to see how it handles it. So let's see, that's 3Z, that's right now. 4Z's right now. It's got a pretty good handle on what's going on now. It continues to bring pockets of heavier rain up around Roanoke and even out of Danville here. But notice down near Charlotte, there's some heavier rainfall that may be developing there after midnight tonight. And that goes near Statesville and then gets up around Mount Airy. We also have rainfall developing potentially from Lynchburg into the Allegheny Highlands by 5, 6 in the morning. And then look, we continue to see this redevelop here. These storms, or what could be storms, would redevelop. And it looks like, that would be something that would obviously cause more flooding issues because you'd have storms dumping those high rainfall amounts on already saturated ground. At lunchtime tomorrow, another area of heavy rain over the Roanoke Valley and what could be a serious flooding situation for you in Henry County, Floyd County, southwest Franklin County, maybe western Franklin County, and certainly in the Patrick County as well. That continues to move east on this particular model, and then the main band here is off to the west. So that is one idea of what could be happening. I'm going to show you some other models here, and we'll check out the potential for additional rainfall as well. Let me go to the FV3 version of this. This is just a different run, the most current run, showing the waves of rain and storms coming in for Wednesday, much the same. You're getting similar results here, and you're going to see just a wide variety of precip totals here through the day Wednesday. This particular FV3 version is forecasting 3 to 4 inches of additional rainfall over the Roanoke Valley and the Franklin County. If you go to a different model, you're going to get a slightly different solution there. But let me zoom you in. And this is also a preview of what I put out on Patreon. We're going to zoom into the Greensboro area. And I know you can't read the number too well, but this is rainfall through Wednesday night. And there's a stripe right over Rocky Mount in Franklin County of over 4 to 5 inches. In fact, if you look at the color scale, it's 6 to 7 inches of rain, maybe 8 inches of rain. Most of that's going to probably be over an area that's going to be fully saturated by tomorrow. So plenty of rain that's going to be occurring, and that is obviously the concern, that heavier rainfall that you get with these numerous showers and storms. The NAM 3K holds the rain, the heaviest of which right along the mountain spine, and that also gets up there around 6-7 inches by the time it's all said and done. In some areas, more than that. Looking at the feed here to see if we've got any more just flood advisories that are continuing till 1:30, 2:30 in the morning. I want to show you too the potential for, let's see, tornadic activity. We're going to have to get warm for this to happen, which means we're going to have to see maybe some breaks of sunshine in some areas, but we do have some wind shear to talk about. So we talk about severe weather a lot. We talk about the fact that the winds blow from different directions. And now that we are in the fall, we do see a second severe weather season when fall happens there. This is the significant tornado parameter tonight, and this is Wednesday. Notice it goes up and it jumps up here. Anything in Virginia, especially in the mountains where we normally don't even see anything, when you get a sig tour of about 1 or 2, it's time to take notice. Anything above that is significant, but I even think these numbers are pretty significant here, because if you get just one break of sunshine and you get a storm to develop in that, you could be looking at some spin in the atmosphere. So I just want to keep you aware that the actual front itself is going to have some spin along it. It'll be coming through like this, and the winds are going to be coming in like this ahead of it. The winds aloft are going to be coming in kind of like this as it passes, so that creates spin along it, and when you get thunderstorms to interact with that spin, that's where you run into the problems out there. So some still concerning numbers. I wouldn't say it's a guaranteed look at a tornado or anything, but there's probably going to be some kind of watch or a potential for a watch issued if these numbers continue around 3 or 4 on the supercell index there, around 6. In Henry County tomorrow evening, Wednesday evening. So there will be a severe weather side to this as well. This is a kind of a quick look at what's going on from just a regular weather map standpoint, so you get kind of a overall view. So this is tonight, and you've got the storm system there. This is the first one kind of merging with the second one. And then tomorrow morning, more rain, heavier storms potentially. Now, what I feel like may happen is tomorrow morning we may see kind of a break in the activity at some point, and the clouds may thin a little bit, and we might warm up to 75 or 76 in a few areas. Then the front comes in. And so it'll depend. If we can get unstable, and I'll update you on that, if we can get a lot of cape and instability around here, we may see from North Carolina, South Carolina, north, we're going to see some severe weather. And even across the southeast, you're going to see some severe weather. But there's a lot of shear in the Carolinas and Virginia. There's a potential for some spin in the atmosphere. The front doesn't get through here until after 8, 9 o'clock at night. And it's going to take it even longer than that through Richmond and coastal Carolina. So it's going to take a good part of Wednesday night to even get to the coast. It's going to take its sweet time. And then it's going to feel great. It's going to feel like fall. It's going to get chilly after this. Great football weather for Friday night. But I did want to let you know, while I'm still on the air, I was about to sign off, and the Storm Prediction Center has issued a special little discussion, what they call a mesoscale precip discussion, that they just put out for our area. And it hasn't even shown up on the web page yet. That's how fast we're getting these. But I'm going to read it for you off screen here. And I think it's going to pop up on my GR Earth, or my WSB3 here at some point. There it is. So you see that green area where it's crawling there? This is where the Weather Prediction Center is watching something here. I think I can get the text. Let's see. View text. All right, concerning heavier rainfall, and this is a live look at the radar, so I'll loop that. Let me shrink this down so you can see a little bit better on our YouTube and Facebook pages here. You can even read where it says heavy rainfall. Here's their summary here. Flash flooding possible. Moderate to heavy rainfall and with some instances of convective training, that's what we were looking at there in Surrey County and Patrick County, are expected through 6 a.m., okay, across the Blue Ridge and Central Appalachians. Rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour over increasingly saturated soil. So everything's continuing to come down and the soil's getting more saturated and the training's continuing. We'll keep a flood threat going through 6 a.m. Instances of flash flooding through that time. The regional radars are indicating an increase in heavy rain with embedded convective elements. That's thunderstorm activity. In the general vicinity of I-81 in southwest Virginia, that's our area if you're watching on TikTok. Moist southeasterly flow in the form of the Atlantic is moving in a lot of moisture, basically right up against the mountains. We showed you that angle, that 90-degree angle. And I want to show you the mountains we're talking about here. So look at the increase in elevation here. And this is what they're talking about as I'm reading you that discussion. They're talking about moisture being brought in like this, and the mountains run like that. So it's at a perfect 90-degree angle just about. That's what forces the air up and creates flooding situations in a case like this. So we'll put the radar back on real quick. And I'll read you the rest of this. There's an axis of 1.9 to 2.2 inches of precipitable water upstream across central North Carolina. So they're looking up the road to find out how much moisture is potentially going to be coming out of Greensboro into Virginia. And they're saying it's quite impressive. Lack of instability, meaning we don't have a lot of thunderstorms. It's a limiting factor for heavy rainfall. The deep, warm cloud layer and enhanced lift in a tropical type air mass because of Nicholas, bringing that in, resulting in very efficient rainfall with rainfall rates up to 2 inches per hour, where you get those thunderstorms anchored over some places. The recent guidance, that's what we've been looking at. Basically, this is a summary of our broadcast because they're looking at the exact same thing. Recent model guidance suggesting the potential of patches of 2 to 4 inch rainfall totals in addition to what's already fallen through 6 a.m. The best potential is going to be south of Interstate 64, basically the Roanoke Valley area near the Blue Ridge Parkway. Is going to exist overnight. There have been multiple weather spotter reports of 2 to 4 inches of rainfall over the past 6 hours with isolated higher totals. We just saw some 5 to 6 inch totals. These areas will be more susceptible to flooding. Radar estimates are underestimating rainfall rates because we've got clouds that are above freezing, not below freezing, and the radar sometimes has a hard time with that. Just to show you here too. Here's that moisture they were talking about. It doesn't need to be raining for there to be a lot of moisture. It just needs to be in the air so that when that air hits the mountains, it's the sponge. This is the sponge. How much water is in the sponge? And over 2 to 2.5 inches of water in the sponge there in these colors here, these enhanced colors across North Carolina. And this is moving this way. So this higher level moisture, or that bulge in the moisture there, is moving north, and that'll be a concerning factor through 6 a.m. And again, at some point tomorrow, we may shift by late morning into early afternoon. We may shift this into a situation where we look at possibly some severe weather. But it's definitely a heavy rain event right now. You can see another view. If we go a little bit lower than 5,000 feet, you can see the vectors there showing you the degree of wind. The wind's coming in at about 30 to 40 knots. Yeah, well, about 25 to 30 knots right into the mountains there. But that's a good direction to get a good fetch of moisture. And then if you go up to about 10,000 feet, you've got lots of moisture there showing up at 700 millibars coming in right out of the south off the coast of the Carolinas. So no matter really which way you're looking, you've got a lot going on. And then if you look off to the west, again, this is tomorrow's problem back here. All of this lift and this cool air aloft is going to destabilize us some and cause us some issues out there. So anyway, it's going to be a long night for a lot of folks. The rainfall will continue, and I'll continue to keep you updated. Thanks for the follows on TikTok and elsewhere, and updates will be coming out. I'll post some of these updates in terms of rainfall here pretty soon on my Facebook pages there at Meteorologist Jamie Singleton, and on Twitter as well. You can go to my Twitter, by the way, and you can see a live feed of just about everything that is coming out from the National Weather Service. I've got a kind of an agreement with them to repost some of this stuff. I've got updates coming out. There's the flood advisory that just was allowed to expire for Roanoke for the moment right now. That was 1 minute ago. And you saw the 3 minutes ago, this went around Pulaski right there. Pulaski County is now under a flood advisory until 5:45. They're continuing the flood advisory in green until 2:30. Just to show you how reliable this is, I'm using it on my stream. That's when I stream, I put out this alert. This is a National Weather Service Blacksburg tweet. You can see the banding they were continued to watch there. So there's all kinds of ways, basically every little statement, every little update that comes out, including storm reports, are going to be coming out on my Twitter page, and that's a good way to kind of keep up with everything there. More updates to come if needed. Keep it safe out there. Remember, it's hard to see flooding at night, almost impossible, and that's a dangerous situation. So if you live in these areas, from Franklin County into Roanoke, Montgomery, Radford, Pulaski County now, all through the NRV, Hillsville, Floyd County, down through Surrey County, North Carolina, and into Henry County, you need to be advised, especially Route 8 in Floyd. My goodness, pouring down rain there. Be ready for possible mudslides. Be ready for washed out roads. In some areas, you can't tell if the water is even covering a road. Sometimes the road's not under there for you to see. So stay safe, everybody.